All right, so there I am unmuted. So, this is week 4 of continuous learning. So, I talked about last week with different activities. Oh, you my own hair. um, and every single week I'm of course sending out new activities. I hope you guys are seeing some of your guys' names pop up on our shoutouts and hopefully getting credit for that. Because if you're on teams, you're getting feedback. Like I said, it's not points. These are optional activities to keep your learning up. But I will give you feedback when you get these activities done, and I will send you things back. As I told you last week, we have new Microsoft Teams. It is easy to log in. You just use your school login. So your 6-digit code at usd259.net, and then use your password for school. If you're having difficulty, you can call in to the school and see if you need a password reset or things like that. All my classes are activated. Everything's being posted to our Google Classroom, our Teams, but Teams allows it to be organized a little differently than Google Classroom. We're still continuing the hide. Today got a little rained out, so no rocks went out today. So hopefully on Friday we'll get some more kindness rocks out. I am trying to hit up different areas to make sure that everybody has an equal chance of getting some. Alright, so of course shout outs are continuing every week, and we'll talk about those at the end of this. Every single past newsletter material is being posted to this Google Drive now. So all you have to do is click this link and you can see any of the previous newsletters. You can see any of the previous packets, family stuff from the district, everything that I've been sent, I've been putting into this Drive folder for you. You can always text me at this number if you need assistance. The number is not active for calls currently. Going down, so in drag time, so this would be our first hour class. You have about 20 minutes with us. So we've been talking about serious conflicts, and then this continues with the serious conflicts and then how to resolve them. So we've been talking about roadblocks and how these are things that get in the way of resolving a conflict. And so with number 1, I want you to think of some examples of things that you run into while you're trying to resolve a conflict. And there's sometimes, when I'm trying to resolve something, what holds me back is my preconception, what I believe should go on, all these different things that are going on. I don't really always know. And it sometimes is hard to get out of that bubble and allow myself to forgive people. And sometimes it's hard to move on from that. We then would have a scenario. So the scenario was shoving. So when we first would have opened it, Kamal and Logan have never gotten along. Kamal and Nolan have never gotten along. Recently, Kamal started shoving Nolan in the hallway. Nolan doesn't want to get into a serious conflict. So we have 3 different options, some things that he can do. So we could talk to the vice principal about it. We could tell him he's going to regret it if he doesn't stop. Or we could avoid him. These are typical things that we would do. So we think about what is our best idea. And then depending on what you chose, we would then go into these A, B, or C. And depending on what you chose, then it would talk to it about, does this always work? Is this going to be a serious conflict? So at A, so let's say we talk to the principal, the vice principal. After talking to them, they still don't get along, but now they're not trying to start anything. Does this always work? Why or why not? So there's times in school that when we do talk to the admin, it doesn't always immediately result in something getting better. Sometimes things get worse, and it's kind of hard. And you don't really know what's going to work until you actually try it. If you don't try it, you don't know yet. Scene B, so let's say he's going to regret it if he doesn't stop. So instead of backing off, he just shoves him harder. The next week, then they're shoving him back. Now they're both shoving each other, and then they're trying to beat each other up. They're both getting suspended. They're both in a serious conflict. And now the problem is they've gotten in a fight, and they're not cohesive. They're not getting along, and it's gotten worse. And things have stepped in. They have been suspended. They're not in school. And the thing is, in a fight, neither person is really winning because they both lost control of their actions. And then C, so say if we're avoiding. So we started avoiding him, then of course he's telling everybody, oh, he's afraid of me. And now they're encouraging, so let's get revenge, let's say something about him. Well, the problem is even if it's not physical, just using our words, we can get in a conflict that we don't want to be in. Is it worth our time? Is it worth, like, the physical and mental effort to get after that person? I usually go after, I'm standing up to it. I say what I'm going to say. If they want to do something, that's their choice. They have chosen a consequence. I have a lot of times people are like, well, you're snitching. Snitching is intentionally telling on somebody to get them in trouble. It's like, oh, I saw them this. I want them to be in trouble. I'm going to go tell on them. That's a snitch. It's a tattletale. We all know those terms. But the problem is, if somebody's actually in danger, they're actually hurting somebody, they're actually bullying them, it's not snitching because it shouldn't be going on. So, it's hard, especially in middle school, because it's not a conflict you want to get into. It's not something you really want to go on, but you're gonna have to stand up for yourself because you're growing into a young adult, and that's one of the things you have to learn to do. Alright, going into gossip. So, Nani's gossiping with her friends about Petra. Petra doesn't have any friends. Nani and her friends think Petra is weird. Petra hears Nani and then confronts her. Nani doesn't want to have a serious conflict, so now she has 3 things that she can do. So we can explain that she's just joking, I'm just teasing, I'm not doing that. Promise, I'm never going to do that again. Nope, no more. Or they're to not say anything at first and then just be like, later, I'm sorry, dude, didn't mean that. So, when we're talking about she was joking, they respond with about a nasty joke back. Then, of course, her friends start laughing. And, well, if your friends around you, it's gone back and forth. So then they throw in the punch. But then Petra says, you wouldn't dare. And they keep making comments. So now they're in a serious conflict. They're talking about physical cleaning and physical altercation. And neither of them wanted this in the end. A lot of times, we pick on people when we don't feel good about ourselves. And we pick on something that, well, if we pick on this, then we'll feel better. And it's hard because we shouldn't do that. But we're always comparing. And we need to think about everybody's journey is different. Alright, promising to stop. So their friends roll their eyes. Will she actually mean it? Petra says thank you and goes back to her seat. So this sometimes will work. Sometimes they'll believe you and then you follow through with your word and you're good. The problem is that some people don't follow through the word and then turn around and do the exact same thing again. At that point, you have to just cut it off. You have to realize they're not worth your time. They're not worth your effort. Because you're getting involved in something that it's not needed. It's a negativity in your life. So then, going to the last one. So she waits till her friends are gone, then apologizes. Petra doesn't say anything. She just leaves. After that, nasty rumors start spreading. She's not sure if Petra sped him, but she starts some rumors of her own then. As they get conflicted, they go online. So this is talking about now our words getting us into a serious conflict. And that's not needed either. At the end of this, I want you to think about a roadblock that you hit. So these are some examples of gossip. I've seen it happen in middle school. There's examples of just you're not getting along with people. And a lot of times, not every single person is going to like every person, but we need to at least get along and respect each other enough that we're not trying to physically or mentally give them harm. So that would have been Jag time. Going down to math intervention. So we're still working, of course, iReady lessons. I have some people knocking it out of the park, and I have some people getting in their study time, and then I have some of you guys who are not signing in. If you are not able to get in, I really do hope you're working on your packets. If you do need help with your packets, you can, of course, message me, text me pictures, and I'll work on one-on-one. I did have somebody do it this week, and I have little pages on what I worked out, and then I had sent them pictures back. Working on Mathia. Mathia, of course, we still want 20 minutes, but I know with your core, they want you to probably run an hour for the week. So thinking about trying 20 minutes a day, because remember, math intervention would have been only one day of your Mathia. I do have some math games available to you guys, so we do the Prod Your Sum Dog. If you need your login, let me know. Otherwise, here is our code for Prodigy. I did put some additional resources because I know some people really like our Nearpods, and we used to do those every couple weeks. We have our cake fraction problems, and you can just go to nearpod.com, put that code in, and it will allow you to access the lesson. And anybody who accesses it then will get on our shoutouts. I then have fractions and decimals A and B. I know fractions and decimals is something we're struggling with, and so it might be a good thing to have a lesson aimed to just that. And if you want to take a break off iReady, this is a great break. Going to science. So, last week we covered digestive and circulatory. So we talked about how eating makes you feel, and then we talked about how your blood pumps and your heart, and a pulse lab talking about how much your heart is beating. Excuse me. If you did not do the Nearpods, I do have some Bill Nye video links that do cover a lot of the same stuff. So you can watch a video, just enjoy it. I know sometimes just having something on in the background, maybe you have little kids also, you have little siblings. I remember watching this when I was a little kid. I loved it. Maybe try it out. I know it's a little older, but you can have some fun. So this week, we're still going back into the whole question, why can you not function properly with without one of your body systems? So this systems we're doing is respiratory and nervous system. So I do have more things on this, but this is a little bit more of activities that the labs were interactive with more than one person, and one was just a review. So I have our main 2 lessons, and then some more optional activities of things that could be stuff you would do in school or something I would have sent home for you to do. So number 1, we would have reviewed the PDF of our vocabulary. Repeating our vocabulary is listed, and so if we were in class, we would have done an explore activity, what the definition is, what is the true definition. I did already put those out onto our classroom and our teams. Number 2, Nearpod respiratory system. So this would be going and exploring the respiratory system in this Nearpod, finding out about why is that important, and going back to our overarching question. Our third one, of course, would be our nervous system Nearpod. And that goes into thinking about what happens when you get an injury to your nervous system. So like your spine, your head. Think back to when we were talking about cells, when we were talking about that nerve cells aren't replaced. And thinking about how that interacts with the whole system. I then put 2 different labs. You do have to have a sibling or a family member for each of them. It requires 2 people. So the nervous system lab requires 2 pencils and a ruler. What a lot of times I do is, if I'm not sure about the ruler, I just kind of use an approximation. It doesn't have to be precise. It's more of thinking about how does it work, and I'll talk more about in the video specifically for the labs this week. Then we had reflexes and reactions, thinking about how does your nervous system work, how do you react, thinking about your blinking, how is your reaction time, grabbing things, and both of those labs got posted to our classroom and our teams. If you need more assistance on those, please let me know. And then here's the video links down here. That is our newsletter for this week. I know science looks a little heavy. That's primarily because I wanted to give them all the different activities that were possibilities that we would have done this week. I'm not expecting people to do all the activities, but I know if you are like me and have some time, it might be fun to do some labs and get maybe a sibling in and try it with them. It's more an interactive thing versus just 1 or 2 people. I'm going to close that out and get our shout outs. There we go. Sorry, a little distracted by my delay and fixing my view. There we go. So, shout outs for this week. So, my iReady peeps. I got Landon with 42. You got your week. Tina with 40. You got your week. Awesome. Don Shay and Maya got their 1 day. So trying to aim for a member 40 to 45. Mommy, I gotta see you got logged in. You might have had an issue. I already Landon rocking it with 3 lessons passed. Tina and Maya, I saw you were doing on grade level ones from your teachers. Good jobs. If you need questions about those, let me know and I can help you out. I do not have anybody on some Dogger project this time, and I just let those Nearpods open, so nobody has those yet. Science, I have more people rocking it out, so I have not had anybody do the cell creative writing, but I have 4 people getting A's on their cell quizzes. I then have Tobin with a great score on his cell assessment, so that would have been the test we would have taken. I don't have anybody answering the 2 questions about the body systems that I posed. But then our Nearpods, I have some people rocking it out 100% for Haley, Donshay, and Gio for Was It Something I Ate for last week. Then going into circulatory system, 100% for Haley, Janet, and then Gio at a 91. He missed 1 thing. Good job, everybody there. I do not have anybody turning in a pulse lab yet, but every time I get something added, I will put it on here. That is our newsletter and shout outs. Keep up the great work, everybody. And if you have any questions, let me know. I might not be working on all my videos today, but I wanted to make sure to get out the newsletter. And if anybody had questions, they could ask me directly. You could comment on here if you have something specific about a class, or send me a message